I sat at the head of my dining table watching my family devour the meal my private chef had prepared, while they simultaneously tried to devour my life. The irony wasn't lost on me. "Alexander, darling," my mother said, dabbing her mouth with a silk napkin, "this house is simply too big for one person. Your father and I have decided we're moving in next week. The East Wing will be perfect for us." My sister Victoria nodded enthusiastically. "And James and I can take the West Wing with the kids. Those empty rooms are just going to waste." "Don't forget us," my Aunt Margaret chimed in. "Robert and I could use the garden suite. Our retirement fund isn't doing as well as we'd hoped." I took a slow sip of my wine, a rare vintage from my own vineyard in Tuscany, and observed the family meeting that was rapidly becoming a hostile takeover of my home. They had no idea that this 15,000 square foot country estate was just one small piece of my real estate empire. "The pool house would be perfect for Cousin Peter," Dad added, helping himself to more roast. "Poor boy needs a fresh start after his third failed business venture." I glanced at my watch, a subtle Patek Philippe that cost more than Cousin Peter's last business attempt, and thought about the board meeting I had tomorrow morning. Harrison Global Properties, my international real estate development company, was about to announce its biggest acquisition yet. But my family still thought I was just a moderately successful property manager who got lucky with one good investment. "And of course," Mom continued, "we'll need to redecorate. Those minimalist designs of yours are so cold." "I'm thinking floral wallpaper in the main hall." My phone buzzed quietly. I messaged from my executive assistant Diana. "Tokyo deal confirmed. $2.8 billion acquisition approved by the board. Press announcement tomorrow at 9 a.m. Also, contractors ready to begin construction on the new London development. Requires your signature." I replied quickly. "Proceed with Tokyo. Send London contracts to my home office. Also need comprehensive property ownership documents for family holdings by tomorrow morning." Looking up, I realized my family was still dividing my home amongst themselves. "The media room will be perfect for the kids' playroom," Victoria was saying, her husband James nodding along. "Though we'll need to remove all that expensive audio equipment." That expensive audio equipment was a custom system worth more than their house, but I kept quiet. Sometimes silence was the best strategy. "Alexander, dear," Mom interrupted my thoughts, "we'll need keys made for everyone by Monday. And of course we'll all need the security codes." I set down my wine glass. "And what makes you think I'm agreeing to any of this?" The table went silent for a moment before erupting in laughter. "Oh honey," Mom patted my hand condescendingly. "You're not using even half this space. It's silly to keep it all to yourself. Family helps family. Besides," Dad added, "we're your parents. We know what's best." I stood up, straightening my bespoke suit. "Follow me please." All of you leading them through the house. I opened the doors to my private office, a space none of them had ever seen before. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the estate's 100 acres, while multiple monitors displayed real-time data from my global operations. "What's all this?" Victoria asked, staring at the screens showing property developments across 5 continents. "This," I said quietly, "is where I actually work." I pulled up documents on the main screen. Property deeds, ownership records, financial statements. "Let's start with where you all currently live, shall we?" "What do you mean?" Aunt Margaret asked nervously. "Your home, Aunt Margaret. The one you're so worried about in retirement. I own it, have owned it for 3 years, through one of my holding companies. I bought it when the bank was about to foreclose, but let you keep living there at the original mortgage rate." Her face went pale. "That's impossible. Victoria James, your lovely suburban home, owned by Harrison Properties West, along with most of your neighborhood. Those reasonable rent increases you've been grateful for. I kept them low deliberately." Victoria grabbed James's arm. "But we have a mortgage with Harrison Financial Services, one of my subsidiary companies." I pulled up more documents. "In fact, I own most of the properties this family lives in. Have for years, I just never saw the need to mention it." The room was dead silent now. I continued pulling up documents, watching their faces as they realized the extent of what I'd built while they weren't paying attention. "This estate isn't just a big house I got lucky with. It's the smallest of my personal properties. Harrison Global Properties owns developments in 43 countries. We're announcing a $2.8 billion acquisition tomorrow morning. Mom sank into a leather chair. But, you're just a property manager. I manage properties, yes. About $50 billion worth of them. I pulled up more screens. Those business contacts you think I'm so lucky to have. They're my fellow board members. That modest success you like to minimize. I'm one of the largest real estate developers in the world. Dad's face had gone red. Why didn't you tell us? I tried, many times, but you were all too busy telling me what to do with my life to listen. I started displaying more documents. Remember when I offered to help with investments 5 years ago? You all said I was reaching too high, should be more realistic. The screens filled with images of my developments. Luxury hotels in Dubai, office towers in Singapore, residential complexes in London. That cold minimalist design you hate, Mom, my architects won international awards for it. It's now the signature style of our luxury developments. My phone buzzed again. Diana confirming the Tokyo paperwork was complete. I added those documents to the display. So no, you're not moving in next week. You're not redecorating, redesigning, or rearranging anything. In fact, I pulled up one final set of documents. You might want to worry more about your own homes. What do you mean? Victoria's voice was barely a whisper. I've been keeping your rents and mortgages artificially low, but market rates have risen significantly. Maybe we should discuss bringing everything up to current values. You wouldn't, Mom gasped. No, I wouldn't. Because unlike this attempted takeover of my home, I actually respect family boundaries. I sat down at my desk. But things need to change. The silence was deafening. Finally, Aunt Margaret spoke. We had no idea. Clearly, I said. You were all too busy planning how to take over my space to see what I was actually building. So let me be clear, this ends now. The entitlement, the assumptions, the attempts to control my life, all of it. I started closing the documents on the screens. I'm happy to help Family Mai. I've been doing it for years without you knowing. But it will be on my terms, with proper respect and boundaries. Son, Dad started, but I held up my hand. I have a board meeting tomorrow morning, where we're announcing a major international acquisition. I have developments under construction on 3 continents. I don't have time for family drama or attempted property takeovers. Victoria stood up straighter. Alex, I'm sorry. We should have asked, should have seen. Yes, you should have. I turned back to my desk. Diana will show you out. She'll also provide you with proper documentation of your current living arrangements. Just so everything's clear. As they filed out, still shocked, Mom turned back. Alexander, can we talk about this properly sometime? My office next week. Diana will set up appointments. Individual ones. We'll discuss everything professionally. After they left, I poured myself another glass of wine and looked out over my estate. The gardens were lit softly in the evening light, the fountains creating gentle patterns in the reflecting pools, all of it designed precisely to my taste, my vision. My phone buzzed one final time. Diana confirming tomorrow's schedule. 9 a.m. Tokyo acquisition announcement. 10 a.m. board meeting. 12 p.m. London development review. 2 p.m. Your family's property portfolios prepared for review. Shall I schedule their appointments for next week? I replied. Yes, and Diana. Pull up their current market rates. Not to implement, but to discuss. It's time they understood exactly what they've been taking for granted. Setting down my phone, I smiled slightly. Sometimes it takes a shock to open people's eyes. Tomorrow my company would announce another major acquisition. My empire would grow again, and my family would begin learning some valuable lessons about respect, boundaries, and the true meaning of success. The estate they'd tried to claim would become a classroom of sorts, teaching them that real wealth isn't just about square footage, but about building something meaningful. And maybe, just maybe, they'd finally see me for who I really was, not who they assumed I should be. My wine cellar needed restocking. Perhaps I'd fly to my vineyard in Tuscany next weekend to select some new vintages. The family could wait until I returned for those appointments. After all, I had an empire to run. The lights of my estate twinkled in the growing darkness, each one representing a choice I'd made, a vision I'd built. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new opportunities, and hopefully new understanding from my family. But for tonight, I had contracts to review, developments to oversee, and a global empire to manage. The family drama could wait, I had bigger things to build. Diana sent one final message. Your jet is ready for Tokyo if you want to attend the announcement in person. I replied, book it, and Diana, send my family detailed portfolios of their living arrangements, including current market rates. It's time for some education. Looking out over my estate, just one small piece of my global holdings, I smiled. Sometimes the biggest lessons come from the smallest assumptions. My family had tried to claim my home, without understanding that I owned all of theirs. Tomorrow would begin their education in how I really lived, what I'd really built. But for now, I had an empire to run, and a legacy to build. The estate they'd tried to claim, it was just the beginning. A week after the revelation in my home office, I sat in my corporate headquarters on the 60th floor, reviewing the scheduled meetings Diana had arranged with my family. The Tokyo acquisition had made global headlines, and Harrison Global Properties stock had jumped 12% on the news. First appointment, my mother, in 10 minutes. Diana's voice came through the intercom. Mrs. Harrison is here, sir. Send her in. Mom entered and I could immediately see the difference. Gone was the casual entitlement. Instead, she wore a proper business suit and carried a portfolio. Alexander, she said formally, taking a seat across from my desk. Thank you for meeting with me. I gestured to the spectacular city view behind me. This building, I developed it, own it completely. The property management work you thought I did. This is what it really looks like. She nodded, opening her portfolio. I've been researching your company. The scope, it's extraordinary. Why didn't you make us understand? I tried. You weren't listening. I pulled up her property file on my screen. Let's discuss your current living situation. For the next hour, I walked her through the reality of her housing costs. The property she and Dad lived in, a luxury townhouse in the city's best neighborhood, would rent for triple what they were paying under market rates. The subsidized rate you've been enjoying comes from my company's family assistance program, a program you never knew existed because you were too busy planning to take over my home. We were wrong, she said quietly. Completely wrong, not just about the estate, but about you. I leaned back in my chair. The question is, what happens now? She straightened. I'd like to understand, really understand, not just your success, but how you built all this. Why? Because I'm your mother, and I failed to see who you really are. I'd like to correct that mistake. I studied her for a moment, then pressed my intercom. Diana, bring in the family education portfolio. Diana entered with a thick folder. The comprehensive program, sir. Yes. Mom, this is a 6-month course in real estate development and property management. If you're serious about understanding, start here. The rest of the day brought similar meetings. Victoria arrived with detailed notes about Harrison Global Properties' recent developments. Dad tried to maintain his authority, but faltered when faced with the reality of my empire. Aunt Margaret came prepared to discuss actual market rates for her property. Between family meetings, I conducted global business. A new development in Dubai needed approval. London construction plans required modifications, and the Tokyo integration team needed direction. Sir, Diana interrupted after my last family meeting. Your sister Victoria has submitted a formal application for the company's management training program. I raised an eyebrow. Through proper channels. Yes, sir. Complete with recommendations and qualifications. She's actually well qualified. Process it normally. No special treatment. That evening, as I reviewed the day's meetings in my estate office, an email arrived from Mom, a detailed analysis of my company's growth strategy, clearly prepared after hours of research. My phone buzzed. Dice, James, Victoria's husband, requesting a proper meeting to discuss his family's housing situation. Not demanding, not assuming, but asking professionally. Another message from Dad. Son, I was wrong. Would you be willing to teach me about what you've built? The transformation was beginning, but I needed to be sure it was genuine. I called Diana. Schedule a family business dinner for next week, at the estate. but this time, with a presentation about Harrison Global Properties' full portfolio. The complete revelation, sir. Yes, time to show them everything. The week passed with more global deals, more developments, more empire building, but also with small signs of family change. Mom attended a real estate investment seminar. Victoria excelled in her preliminary management training evaluation. Dad requested access to property development tutorials. The family dinner was different this time. They arrived properly dressed, on time, with notebooks and professional attitudes. Before we eat, I announced, let's take a tour. A real one. I led them to my home's command center, a state-of-the-art room they hadn't seen before. Wall-to-wall screens showed real-time updates from properties worldwide. This estate isn't just a home. It's the nerve center of a global operation. I began displaying projects across the screens. Every property you see, every development, every luxury hotel and office tower, all part of Harrison Global Properties. Their faces showed genuine interest now, not entitled assumption. The East Wing you wanted to take over, Mom. It's where I host international investors. The West Wing, Victoria, houses my global operations team during major projects. The Garden Suite contains a secure facility for handling billion-dollar transactions. It's not just a house, Dad whispered. It's a global headquarters. Exactly. Every room you wanted to reorganize serves a purpose in running a worldwide enterprise. I pulled up more displays. That media room you wanted to turn into a playroom. It's connected to stock exchanges globally. The screens filled with current projects. Dubai's newest luxury tower, Singapore's revolutionary green building complex, London's riverside development. This is what I actually do. What I've been doing while you all thought I was just managing properties. Victoria raised her hand like a student. The management training program. Is there really a chance? If you earn it, same as anyone else. I turned to face them all. I'm willing to teach you, involve you, even employ you, but only if you understand and respect what I've built. Mom opened her notebook. We'd like to learn, really learn. The dinner that followed was different from any family meal we'd had before. They asked intelligent questions about business strategies, development plans, global markets. No one mentioned moving in or taking over spaces. As they left that evening, I handed each of them a thick folder. Your study materials if you're serious about understanding this business. We are, they said in unison. Diana appeared with a final update. Victoria's preliminary training scores are in the top percentile. Your mother has enrolled in real estate finance courses. Your father is requesting mentorship in property development. I nodded, watching my family drive away. Monitor their progress. Real change requires real effort. Looking out over my estate, my global command center, I smiled slightly. Sometimes the biggest transformations come from the hardest truths. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from Mom. Studying the materials now. I finally understand why you need every room in that house. I'm sorry we didn't see it sooner. The empire I'd built was teaching my family valuable lessons about respect, understanding, and the true meaning of success. The estate they'd tried to claim was becoming a classroom for their education in reality. And maybe, just maybe, they were finally ready to learn. 6 months after my family's education began, I stood in the presentation room of Harrison Global Properties, watching Victoria deliver her final management training presentation. Her understanding of luxury property development had grown impressively. And that concludes my proposal for the new eco-luxury development in the Maldives, she finished confidently. Projected ROI of 28% over 3 years, with minimal environmental impact. The board members nodded approvingly. They didn't know she was my sister. She'd insisted on using her married name throughout the program, earning her position purely on merit. Impressive analysis, Mrs. Parker, our development director commented. Welcome to the management team. I maintained my professional demeanor, but felt a flicker of pride. Victoria had done this right. No shortcuts, no family favors. My phone buzzed with a message from Diana. Your mother's real estate finance certification came through. Top of her class. Also, your father's mentorship program evaluation is ready for review. The family transformation had exceeded my expectations. Instead of trying to claim my space, they'd worked to understand my world. Later that afternoon, I had a scheduled meeting with Mom in my corporate office. She arrived carrying market analysis reports and development proposals. Alexander, she began professionally. I've identified 3 potential acquisition targets that align with Harrison Global's expansion strategy. She laid out detailed presentations, complete with financial projections. I reviewed her work. Was solid, thorough, professionally prepared. You've been studying. Every day. The courses you recommended, additional certifications, market analysis training. She straightened in her chair. I want to earn my place in this world you've built. And the estate? I asked pointedly. She smiled ruefully. Now I understand why every room is essential. It's not a house, it's a command center for a global empire. We were foolish to think it was just empty space. My next meeting was with Dad, who'd spent months learning property development from ground up. He'd stopped trying to assert parental authority and instead approached everything as a student of the business. Son, he said, entering with his own portfolio. I've completed the development training program. I'd like to apply for a junior position in the Dubai project. Through proper channels, of course. I nodded approvingly. Submit your application to HR. No special treatment. Wouldn't want it any other way. He replied, and I knew he meant it. The afternoon brought a surprise. Aunt Margaret requesting a proper business meeting. She arrived with a comprehensive proposal for senior living development projects. I've identified an underserved market, she explained professionally. Luxury retirement communities with integrated healthcare facilities. I've done complete market research. Her presentation was impressive. Diana interrupted with urgent news: Tokyo development ahead of schedule. London project receiving sustainability awards. And Victoria's Maldives proposal has attracted major investor interest. The family had become part of my empire, but not through entitlement, through hard work and genuine understanding. That evening, I hosted a different kind of family dinner at my estate. Instead of attempted takeover plans, they discussed market trends and development strategies. The command center screens showed our global projects, and everyone understood their purpose. East Wing makes perfect sense now, Mom commented, watching live feeds from international markets. You need that space for investor meetings. Victoria added, and the West Wing's secure communications center is essential for global operations. They'd learned, really learned. I stood to address them. 6 months ago, you tried to claim this estate without understanding what it really was. Now we see it's the heart of something extraordinary. Dad finished. Something we need to respect, not try to possess. Diana appeared with latest reports. All family members who'd entered training programs were exceeding expectations. They'd earned their places professionally. Looking out over my estate, my global command center, I realized the family had built something new. Respect, understanding, and professional integrity. My phone buzzed one final time. A group message from the family. Thank you for teaching us instead of just shutting us out. We finally understand what you've built, and we're honored to earn our places in it. Properly, the empire had gained something valuable. Family members who'd learned to contribute rather than take. The estate they'd once tried to claim had become a symbol of their transformation. Sometimes the best legacy isn't just in buildings and properties, but in teaching others to build their own success the right way. 1 year after the attempted estate takeover, I stood in our Dubai office, watching a joint presentation by Victoria and Mom to international investors. Their proposal for a revolutionary mixed-use development had drawn serious attention from global investment firms. The integration of sustainable luxury with cultural heritage. Victoria gestured to the holographic renderings floating above the conference table. Mom seamlessly continued. Creates an unprecedented opportunity in the premium real estate market. They'd come so far from that entitled dinner, where they tried to claim my home. Now they were helping expand the empire. Professionally, legitimately. My phone lit up with messages from Diana. London project completed ahead of schedule. Your father's development team exceeded efficiency targets. Aunt Margaret's senior living concept entering phase 2, Tokyo expansion exceeding projections. The family had transformed from liability to asset, each member finding their genuine place in the organization through merit rather than entitlement. Later that evening, back at my estate, I hosted a different kind of family gathering, a professional celebration of Harrison Global Properties' most successful quarter ever. The command center displayed real-time updates from our worldwide operations. Remember when we thought these rooms were just empty space? Victoria laughed, watching market data flow across the screens. Now I can't imagine them being anything else. Mom nodded from her workstation, where she was analyzing Asian market trends. We were so blind. This isn't a house, it's the nucleus of a global operation. Dad looked up from reviewing development reports. Son, thank you for teaching us instead of just dismissing us. This past year has been quite an education. The estate had become what it was always meant to be, a true family business headquarters, run with professional precision and earned respect. Diana entered with updated reports, new acquisition opportunities in Singapore, sustainable development awards in London, Victoria's Maldives project breaking ground next month. I watched my family really work, each in their earned positions, each contributing legitimate value to the empire. Entitled relatives who tried to commandeer my home had become trusted business associates, who understood and respected what we were building. Next quarter's projections. Mom presented her analysis professionally. We're looking at 32% growth across luxury segments. Victoria added, with additional opportunities in emerging markets. The estate hummed with purpose, every room serving its intended function in running our global enterprise. No one talked about redecorating or moving in anymore. They were too busy helping build something bigger. My phone buzzed one final time. A message from our global operations team. Family-led initiatives outperforming market benchmarks. Recommend expansion of professional development program. Looking out over the estate grounds, I smiled. The house they'd tried to claim had become a classroom that taught them something far more valuable: how to earn their own success. Sometimes the best way to preserve a legacy is to teach others how to build one properly. The entitled family that had arrived at my door had become something else entirely. Professional partners in a growing empire, each one earning their place through merit and hard work. As night fell over the estate, the command center screens glowed with activity, a testament to how far we'd all come. The family had learned that true wealth isn't about claiming space, but about building something meaningful, and they'd finally learned to do it the right way.